Okay. Very good afternoon to all of you. I am Savita Yadav from NSIT Dwarka, New Delhi. I'm here to present my topic on presentation is Women Engineers, Past, Present and Future Scenario. So before we begin, so before we begin, looking at the situation of women in the past, we see that abysmal representation of women in engineering. Women, we can say, were just seen as exceptions, considering engineering as the main tough guys territory. Women, by and large, were seen as less capable. This figure appropriately illustrates, the position of women when compared to in the engineering stream, you can say. It more or less represents the standing of women in today's time of engineering fields. Facing the present, according to a report published in New York Times in 2015, Apple, 20% of technology jobs were held by women, and at Google, only 17%. So standing by these observations and other reports, we can say that half of the prospective talent for the technical workforce missing from action. Women advancement is slower in engineering as compared to the other fields where women has made quite an advancement, and you can say in field of medical sciences or business class or law, we can say. But here, when we talk about engineering in particular, we can say the women advancement has been rather slow as compared to the other fields. So now we need to look back what are the various reasons which are holding back this bunch of talent. One of the foremost reason is the gendered engineering. Engineering by and large is considered as a tough guy's role where men are probably, you can say, are more in the field of engineering, maybe the aptitude or whatever. We have preconceived notions regarding the knowledge as perceived from the women's point of view. We have lack of support when we talk about the women's education. Dismal encouragement is given in terms of women to proceed in this field. There's a biasness also in the minds of people who are hiring women engineers or as such the faculty in terms of that also. There is also hesitation in the female themselves whether they want to pursue this particular field or not. And also the report was published by the American Association of University Women in 2008. Social and environment factors shaping girls' achievements and interest in maths and science are the various reasons that we are seeing here is that social and environment factors is one of the most important reason which basically shapes women's interest in maths and ancient science in particular. The college environment also plays an important role when you talk about the interest of a particular woman or in females in particular, but they want to pursue this particular line or not. Continuing importance of bias, often operating at unconscious level, are the major factors contributing to the disparity between number of women and men in engineering. Closer to home, when we talk about India in particular and developing nations as such, societal pressure and also the nearby environment plays an important role in choosing one's career, especially at the lower and middle class levels. In India, particularly, as you can see from our surroundings and all in the nearby area, we can say that whenever we talk about the education of a girl and a boy, a girl's education is more or less looked as a mere burden. Incurring expenses on a basic education is seen as a waste of money. And we know engineering by and large is a professional education where it requires money, to go through. Little or no interest is given to our academic inclinations. This doesn't end here, the list goes on. Girls are recurrently demoralized by the callous attitude shown to them by fellow classmates. There are negative stereotypes about girls' abilities. They are particularly shy in raising queries about the concept not well understood, as a result of which they lose their appetite, sometimes to learn and develop low self-esteem as a result of that. Not only this, there are prevalent stereotypes associating engineering and scientific fields as geeky and particularly inappropriate for girls and women. It is basically, difficult to imagine when we say, okay, a man, can roll down roll up his sleeves and, repair a truck or a lorry. But when we think of a woman, taking all the gadgets and gizmos and, going under the truck and repairing, sometimes, we can figure out a picture, okay, it is inappropriate, particularly for girls. Not only this, there are biologically driven gender differences also in abilities and interests. It is often formulated that men naturally excel in mathematically demanding disciplines, whereas women naturally excel in fields using language skills. One of the largest differences in cognitive abilities is found in spatial skills, with boys and men consistently outperforming girls and women. When we talk about the cognitive abilities, we can say they are basically the brain-based skills we need to carry out for any task in particular, from the simplest to the most complex. They have more, to do with the mechanisms of how we learn, remember, problem solving, and pay attention in particular. When we talk about the spatial skills, there's a capacity to understand and remember the spatial relations between objects. It can be viewed as unique type of intelligence such as verbal ability, reasoning ability, and memory skills. So it is often perceived that women, basically men, outcompete girls in that regard. So considering all these things, what challenges we have in hand, so because if we want to move forward, we need to first recognize, okay, there is a problem. So what are the challenges which we need to tackle in particular? The first and the foremost challenge is the technological and the social dichotomy. This draws on the conventional gendering of dualism between the technical realm and the social, by which men are so readily associated with technology and women with people. This is one was so early you can say that we have preconceived notions in our mind. There are particularly lack of role models. Technical education is definitely more expensive than other degrees. In developing countries like India, girls often do not get solid financial support for education. But even if they do join, they can hardly find some mentor in terms of women faculty in engineering. So there is a lacuna in that sense as well, where we cannot find many women faculties in particular who can really, appreciate or can ask girl, to buck up and not feel shy and hesitate and all. So they obviously lack that role of role models in their lives. Organizational climate also plays a very important role, pivotal role. We can say that a particular woman wants to pursue her career in engineering or not. The challenges and pathetic experiences at work exercise a strong influence on determining these women's perceptions of subjective career success. Prominent among such factors is the experience of incivility at work. Also, work-life balance. As we know, the woman has to actually, multitask all the time, be the home responsibilities or the non-work responsibilities, we can say, and the work responsibilities. Sometimes they have to juggle between all of them. What happens in one's job and career affects one's individual and family life as well. Predictably, women with childcare responsibilities experience greater interference between the work and parental, which are called as the non-work roles. That also plays a very important factor, and it's also a major challenge when we talk about women advancement in engineering. The psychological factors involved. Physiological surveys reveal women seem to assimilate negative perception of their abilities. Women feel that their organizations do not take them seriously. This has tremendous impact on the psychological well-being of women engineers. So having all this as a background, what the questions that you have in hand? Now we know what the challenge is. We need to address the particular questions which need to be tackled. We need to ask ourselves whether to be technical is not to be social and vice versa. Why only women are, in terms of talked about, okay, they are social, they can naturally excel with the language skills, but men in particular are always technical. Why do we have to relate like that? We have to address the biasness in the minds of administrators about women heading technical institutions. There's also strong, a challenge in hand. Why always women are perceived, okay, women will not be able to head particular institution, technical institution as such. Why? We need to address that particular question. We need to look into the issue of work role ambiguity faced by women engineers. Women, by and large, are not given such important technical roles in their organizations. So why do we have to? We have to think in that regard as well. We should also seek how to retain confidence, their confidence and self-efficacy, which is a really important factor. If you want to retain women engineers, they have to develop their self-confidence and efficacy. So time to act. What needs to be done? The first and the foremost step is nip in the bud. When I say nip in the bud, according to Wendy Hawkins, Executive Director of Indel Foundation, middle school is probably a very best age or stage, you can, critical deciding factor in a child's in a role, you can say, in a life, you can say, because at that particular moment of time, a child has gained enough, primary education and can actually decide for himself or herself what it needs to be or how he wants particular his life to be shaped up. So by that time, kids finally have the education to make their own class schedule choices. So are enough foundation courses, grassroots, are being taught at the grassroots levels? We need to really think about that. What exactly is being taught at the school levels? Are enough foundation courses being taught at the school which clearly aims at understanding of the concept and are building blocks of STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths? Work needs to be done to make arrangements for the training facilities of teachers in particular. When we talk about in the class, our role model is particularly teacher who is teaching us. So we have to have facilities to train the teachers so that they can better guide their students and can really play as a role model for the students to take up engineering as a career option for females in particular. Busting the stereotypes and prejudices. Society as a whole has to take into consideration that the negative stereotypes and prejudices against girls regarding STEM streams are society-made, and they are in dire need to be shed if mankind in general and female in particular has to progress. Important members of the society, including teachers and parents, have to continuously provide a supporting role, you can say, and to encourage a growth mindset amongst girls by having trust in their abilities, especially their intellectual abilities. Research findings suggest that girls who trust that their intellectual abilities can be improved with learning and experience do better in maths tests, and there are more chances of them to continue in engineering in future. So all these things have to be taken into account. The third factor is, or the question which should be answered is the behavioral changes of organization. Organizations need to bring about a change in the way they treat their women employees. They have to provide a welcoming and conducive environment wherein women can work and thrive. There is immense need to rework on the existing policies, work culture to suit everybody's need. Even when we talk about the curricula which is designed at the policies which are talking about in the organization, they have to take into account the factors which are influencing both their male employees as well as the female employees. They have to create an environment where everybody can thrive and progress. There is a need to strengthen the recruitment, support, and advance of women pursuing this career. The fourth major factor, paradigm shift of views in the society. We have to cautious approach is required in which gender differences should not be emphasized, as both the gender are more similar than they are different. As expectations greatly influence the behavior and learning, hence by getting away with differential expectations through deliberately motivating the women can be a great help. So this particular realm which is ingrained in each layer of the fabric of society has to be really shed off at this particular moment of time. It is high time that all the preconceived notions have to be shed. Providing role models, mentors. Mentoring is, you can say, a very has not yet been acknowledged as a very important tool which can actually aid in women's advancement in engineering. We have to keep this in mind. The mentoring is often employed strategy for intention of women in engineering. Policymakers, program developers need to better understand how best to construct mentoring experiences that can be valuable and powerful in their transformation of individuals and organizations in particular. With the widespread use of internet technologies and clever adaptation of technology supported solutions, it is possible to enable electronic mentoring program linking students with professionals in industry in both scalable and cost-effective way. We have to make adaptive use of this technology basically. We have to see that how mentoring programs can be developed effectively, in a cheap manner, you can say, because of the advancement in technology so much, how mentorship can be evolved and how to retain women in particular through these mentorship programs. Training on the job is also very important because men and women, when they enter a job, basically they have the same kind of experiences, they face the similar kind of problems. So when they, it should, this women and men should not be treated in particular in different manner. Like acquiring engineering expertise goes hand in hand with gaining confidence. Women and men engineers face more or less same struggle in their initial years of career. Both have to prove their worth. There should not be any gender dynamics deciding how easily one gains membership or not in engineering communities. Support networks and mutual support. There is also a need to facilitate networking and mutual support, encouraging a culture where asking questions is a norm. Women engineers will particularly appreciate and benefit from the solidarity of other women engineers, either as immediate colleagues or through network of women engineers. We have to especially take into account to involve or incorporate particularly women mentors in this program, where women in particular can actually take advantage or can ask questions which often hesitate in asking in particular from the other colleagues. We have to take into account all such factors as well while making such mentorship programs. Conclusion. We need to embark on this journey collectively. It is for all of us to decide judiciously in whatever little way we can be of help in taking the number of women engineers from dismal to maximum. It is not only about male and female progress, but we have to see the other perspective where both these communities offer their best to the world, to the mankind in general. The other references. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll give the attendees 1 or 2 minutes in case they have any questions.
Okay.
One question is, how do we increase this rate of women leaders in each field?
Yes, please.
How do we increase the
Hello.
rate of women leaders in each field?
This is what I'm saying. We have to, first of all, we have to start from the school level itself. We have to start from the school level itself in the sense that we have to design the curricula in such that it should take into account the interest of both the females and males in particular. Because the kind of interest they show and the kind of mentorship programs, the role models that need to be have in the school as well as in the college atmosphere. And from then on, only the mindset develops for the females in particular, whether this particular field is of interest to them or not. So before taking up that particular step, we have to start at the grassroots levels itself. Then only we can see the change in the long run. Otherwise, we are just talking about the superficial changes, just making policy changes in an organization will not help much in the long run, basically. So we have to take into account that all the steps are required from the beginning itself.
Many multinationals officially mandate a ratio of having at least 30% females, even in engineering domains. Such news should be spread more also in engineering colleges. I suppose this will help.
Please repeat.
Many multinationals officially mandate a ratio of having at least 30% females, even in
Yes,
engineering
yes,
domains.
that is there. But I'm talking about particularly how to retain the particular interest of women in particular in engineering. How to increase that ratio? We have to start at the basic level itself. That is, of course, is there.
No more questions, ma'am. Thank you very much for the webinar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.